Hi, I'm Violet, and this is Now and Then Stories. For the next stretch of episodes, we're stepping into a longer narrative series called Echo Nocturne, a story about digital footprints, fragmented clues, and the people who try to make sense of what's left behind. Episode 1, The Last Stream. March 15th, 2026. Harbor Pines was small enough that after 11, most porch lights clicked off and the only sounds were the ocean working against the rocks and the occasional buoy bell drifting in from the harbor. Even the dogs knew to keep quiet. The fog came early, settled low, and stayed until morning like an old friend who never knew when to leave. But that night, technically already early morning, the quiet felt stretched, too thin. Ray shifted into his recliner, the leather creaking under him, and squinted at the digital clock on the end table, 12:43. He had tried unsuccessfully to fall asleep for nearly an hour. He had tried turning off the lamp, then turning it back on. He had tried flipping his pillow, tried counting his breaths, tried listening to the wind pushing against the cypress trees outside. None of it helped. He finally reached for the laptop sitting on the small table beside him. When he opened it, the screen lit the living room in a muted blue. The fog outside pressed against the windows, turning the reflection hazy. He wasn't sure why he checked the streaming site. Habit, maybe. Hope, maybe. He scrolled past endless thumbnails until a familiar purple glow caught his eye. Echo Nocturne, live now. Echo didn't stream often. When she did, it was almost never scheduled. But her voice had kept him company during more sleepless nights than he would ever admit. He clicked. The room shifted instantly, bathed now in dim violets and the warm flicker of the lantern behind her avatar. The soft piano loop played in the background, slightly detuned, something gentle enough that it barely existed unless you listened for it. Her avatar appeared, pale hair drifting as though underwater, gray-violet eyes, soft expression. Then her voice, low and warm. "Good evening, travelers. I wasn't planning to stream tonight, but..." A small pause. "I couldn't sleep either." Ray exhaled, his shoulders dropped in a way they hadn't all day. He leaned back, adjusting the blanket over his knees. Outside, the wind shifted and the faint sound of waves reached him through the cracked window. Echo talked in her usual slow, thoughtful rhythm, answering a few chat messages, telling small, wondering stories, the kind that weren't really about anything but still felt meaningful. She described the first time she saw snowfall under a street lamp, a book she never finished because she didn't want to leave its world, and the strange loneliness of airports before dawn. Ray listened, letting the cadence settle into the quiet house. For a while, Harbor Pines felt smaller and warmer, like the world had narrowed to just her voice and the lantern light on the screen. But sometime after the first hour, something shifted. It was subtle, so subtle he thought at first it was just him. Her voice tightened, barely, a slight tremor on certain syllables, a hesitation she covered quickly. Ray frowned and leaned closer. The avatar froze mid-blink, then jerked back into motion. Not a typical animation glitch. Something else. The lantern behind her flickered once, sharply, before returning to its gentle sway. The chat reacted instantly. Lag? Model glitching? Echo? When Echo returned to speaking, her voice was steady again, but too steady, the way someone sounds when they're trying not to break. She laughed at something in the chat, but the sound was thin. Outside, the fog thickened, a buoy bell moaned somewhere far off, drifting through the stillness. Something isn't right, Ray thought. He didn't type it, he rarely typed anything, but he watched more closely now. The shift continued. Her stories shortened, her pauses lengthened. Her avatar glanced off screen as if following movement outside the model's control. The lantern behind her dimmed and brightened at irregular intervals. And then, 1:23 a.m. by Ray's clock, another sound behind her mic, a scrape. Echo startled just barely, her avatar reacting a fraction too late. In the moment of delay before she pressed the bow animation into place, he heard something else, a strained whisper. A single word almost swallowed by the mic. "Please." Ray sat forward, unsure if he'd imagined it. Then she composed herself. "All right, travelers, that's all from me tonight," she said softly. Thank you for staying, for listening, but she didn't say her usual closing lines. She didn't smile, she didn't linger, she just whispered, "Good night." And the screen went black. No outro, no ending screen, just darkness. Ray stared, waiting for the usual stream ended message. It didn't appear. He clicked once, nothing. Twice, still nothing. He hit refresh, channel unavailable. He tried again. On the fourth refresh, something strange happened. The screen flashed white, just for a heartbeat. A fragment of text flickered in the upper left corner, jagged and unformatted like corrupted code bleeding through. He caught only the beginning. Where did? Then it vanished, replaced by the normal error page. Ray sat still, pulse tapping at his throat. Had he imagined it? A glitch? A cached page fragment? A meaningless technical hiccup? He refreshed again. Only the error message remained. He checked forums, social media, the handful of communities he knew mentioned her. Everything was noise, panic, jokes, wild theories, someone insisting it was an RG. He clicked through his browser history again. There it was, faint and half buried. Where did Echo go? No spaces, no extension, no icon. He clicked it. 404. No trace of whatever he'd seen. Ray shut the laptop and rubbed his face with both hands. He told himself he'd check again later. Told himself streamers disappeared all the time. Told himself he was reading too much into a glitch and a tremor and a broken goodbye. But somewhere beneath the rational things he told himself, a quieter truth sat waiting. Something was wrong. He felt it the way he felt a storm before it broke, pressure settling behind the ribs, a heaviness in the air. He didn't know that across the world, other viewers felt the same thing. He didn't know that in Prague, someone had already created a blank page with a single question waiting at the top. He didn't know any of that. All he knew was the silence where her voice used to be, and the uneasy feeling that this wasn't an ending, but the beginning of something he couldn't yet name. Thank you so much for listening to Now and Then Stories with Violet. Tune in next time for the next chapter of Echo Nocturne and follow what happens between now and then.